Yeah.
Hello, everyone, and welcome to another episode of the 2-Point Conversion Monday Night Football Preview Show. I'm one of your hosts, Kyle Senra. Joining me, both my co-hosts, Gladys and Dan. How you doing, GLT?
I'm doing good. How are you doing, Kat?
It's good luck time. I don't know. I just want to use your initials in a pun. And I'm already starting off the episode with a pun before Dan even gets to speak. I'm sure that makes him very happy. How are you, Mr. B-League?
Flying start, Kyle, as always. Very good.
Flying Eagles fly start, I suppose.
No, it's too early. I can't let my second sentence. But fuck Eagles, fuck Eagles, fuck Eagles.
What?
There we go.
Okay then. The Eagles are playing tonight, and as you can tell, Dan's super excited about that. The Philafraudula Eagles, or the Fraudadelphia, or the Fraudafraudula Eagles, however you prefer to call them.
I can't believe I have to bet on them. I can't believe I'm all in on the Eagles tonight. I'm so mad. I got 8 hours of pure Giants bliss, and here I am betting on the Eagles the next day.
Hello, Jamie, and also a Facebook user saying, "What's everyone?" And another Facebook user saying, "Fly Eagles, fly." Apparently, that's the theme. I'm going to leave that up there for a while just for you, Dan, because I know you've enjoyed it so much.
What up, Jamie? What up, Facebook user?
And yeah, if you would also like to connect with us and chat, feel free to head over to the Going for Two live YouTube page, also on Twitch and Facebook, and then there we can get your comments. You can send Twitter DMs. May not be checking them though, or Twitter tags, Twitter comments, however. But we won't actually get those in the feed, and gonna be pretty busy to check because we have such an intense game tonight. Super Bowl rematch, and we've got a ton of picks to make. Dan especially wants to go in tons of detail talking about the Eagles. Here you go, Dan. This one's for you. Jamie's making it feel good.
There we go. Thank you, Jamie. Very good. I think people who have followed along with our journey for the past few years know my distaste for the Philadelphia Eagles, otherwise known as the New York Jets East. So, West New York Jets. I don't even know where Philadelphia is.
South?
I don't know what
South, technically.
They're just Jets fans that got lost. That's all it is. That's how I feel about
Pennsylvania Jets, or just call them the Philadelphia Jets, I suppose.
I don't want to disparage the fine people of Pennsylvania. I don't want to besmirch the fine people of Pennsylvania. They do have the Steelers. Respect out there, but no, none of that for the Eagles. None of it. None.
Well, if you also want to bet on the Eagles, if you hate them, you can do so. I guess it's not betting because it's underdog fantasy. So it doesn't count as gambling, folks, even though some of you might still not be able to do it in certain states or provinces in North America. But that's okay, because if you are eligible, sign up for Underdog Fantasy today and use the promo code GF2 while you're at it. If you do so, or scan the QR code, in that initial deposit, you will get double your deposit match. So up to $100, of course. You put in the full 100, Underdog will double that. You'll have $200 in your account, and you too can pick the Eagles tonight, like apparently Dan is, as he's already spoiled the picks. Not that we can ever get the picks out too early, because someone might be watching right now and want to go put it in and listening to Dan and his Pick'em expertise. He does have the B-League's Pick'em show, of course. The B-League's Pick'em show on the Going for Two Live network, which
just quietly have been doing very well lately.
Yeah, 80%, 90%, whatever it was last week, 2 weeks ago.
89%, and I still can't get no goddamn music. Yeah,
we have intro music here, of course. That's fine. You got to convert to the 2-point conversion, apparently. But there's always great shows on the Going for Two Live network every night of the week, essentially.
Yeah, had a pretty good week this week. I think the only thing I missed was something happened in the afternoon game. Who did I pick in the afternoon game? Oh, it was goddamn Christian McCaffrey again. I hate this guy. He's the bane of my existence. Just for context, because when I do my show on a Wednesday, it's like 2-3 o'clock on a Wednesday afternoon, right? So props normally drop Tuesday, give or take, and they're very sketchy props. So if Vegas hasn't got anything nice to say about anyone, it's touchdown props only, right? That's it. So there was one game, I think it was the Houston game, whoever they play. Who did Houston play this week? I forget. Who
Arizona.
There was three Houston players, None of them were CJ Stroud, and it was like Schultz, Collins, and Dell, higher, lower for touchdowns only. So you're really scrapping at the options that you're given. There's not much. It's really nothing. Not like tonight. When I send you guys the list of what we get tonight, there's like 12 options for Jalen Hurts. I might not have 12 options for 5 games. It sucks, but you're picking on these early props to try and get value, and that's what you get, right? So it's like Christian McCaffrey. He's always got rush yard props on him, and it's never egregiously bad. It's like 70 to 80 yards max. They're playing Tampa, and I'm thinking every time I pick against McCaffrey, he goes over, and when I pick for him, he absolutely like kaplunks. I can't, but because there were no other options really in that game that were like reasonable. Like I hit on Rachaad White, I hit on Brandon Ayuk, fucking aggressively too. But I'm sitting there looking like there weren't even Brock Purdy props. There's nothing else that like Mike Evans is like a height, like it's about all right for his yards. It's like 60 yards, right? It's like, okay, you can probably do that. You've got to delve into it, but McCaffrey's right there, and it's like it's a number 2 and number one and number 2 rush defense going at each other, and you're like, well, if he was ever going to go under, this is the week.
Number 1 and number 2 rush defenses, both running backs get touchdowns.
Yeah, no good. So that's when this happens on like a Wednesday, I'm thinking, okay, I feel pretty good. So if I've hit at the end of the day on a Sunday, like 8 out of 9 like I did 2 weeks ago, and I'm sitting there going, I called that on Wednesday. I feel pretty damn good about it. Wonderful. But then you're sitting there going, what did I miss? And you're like, well, shit, like if there was like a McCaffrey receptions prop or a McCaffrey touchdown prop, I'm taking that every day of the week, and I'm cashing all the time. But
it's just not available every day of the week.
This is never available till like Saturday because they're trying to minimize the amount of hits that they take. They know that they're going to lose, and you might want to add. This is when those touchdown props come in, and this is just a little bit of skill for those who are watching. Christian McCaffrey is going to score a touchdown. It's a rushing reception touchdown prop, give or take. Well, that's what it is. But what are his chances, without knowing his form or who he's up against, out of 10, what do you think his chances are of scoring every week?
Honestly, the way this season's going, 9 out of 10.
Right. So we can safely say that's a safe bet. So someone is probably going to use that as a teaser to add into their parlay to juice it up a bit, to get more back.
Yeah.
But they're not going to offer that on a Wednesday with everything else that's like minimalized. So I can't win on McCaffrey, but like it's there, and you're going to go, well, what else am I going to take? This is where I'm at. So now you guys understand the struggle. So I think I hit on all the Dallas props. I hit on all but that, and I think I hit on all the bonus props because there was no Eagles and Chiefs props that were out there, and there were no Minnesota Denver props out there. So I think the 3 bonus props I hit on as well, but not McCaffrey. So we've gone at about 89% again, 2 weeks in a row. Still no bonus music, none. I'm still editing my own show. Thanks, Jeff. No worries. Just go on at 89%. 0 love, but that's okay. We're doing it on Monday night.
Yeah, I didn't do it.
Man,
Yeah.
I ended when they
release
said
this episode as audio. Like for the YouTube folks, this is a YouTube only thing. So you're lucky to get this and get
my time was up. My time was up when Jeff sat me down and said, Dan, let me introduce you to SEO. And I said, I'm done. You've lost me. I'll let Kyle do all the work now. That's it.
Okay. I guess I'm hosting here, so I should host. Talking about. So is that your rant, or do you still have a rant in you, Dan? Because I'm sure Gladys. Well, I've asked her what she wants to do. She probably wants to hear you rant.
I just want to hear Gladys talk about the Steelers for a bit before I work my way into the evening.
No, you don't. No one wants to hear that.
I do. I really, really do. I made the comparison. It was a joke during the week, apparently, because I didn't know the guest on the Wednesday night show was a Steelers fan. I had no idea. But I made the comparison of Kenny Pickett to Zach Wilson, and everyone thought I was joking. I 100% was not joking. I feel like he's like literally Zach Wilson, and he doesn't get any of the bad press.
Well,
granted, he's not trying to fuck his teammates' mothers, but here we are.
Yeah,
I think
DeVito has more touchdown passes than Kenny Pickett does this season. So
Tommy DeVito has tied Kenny Pickett and Anthony Richardson.
Yep.
So
And
make
how
if
many
you
games
want.
did Richardson play? Like 3?
I think he played
Yeah.
5 technically, but he also got hurt in like 4 of them.
For
So
them. Yeah.
I think he played 1 complete game of those 5.
Yeah.
And, like,
So
One of them, like,
anyone who says, I mean, it is.
I find it wild. I find it wild, Gladys. I find it wild that Najee Harris has come out and spoken poorly. 2 weeks ago, George Pickens came out and spoke poorly, and they're 6-4. Like, I'd kill for my team to be 6-4.
Well, I mean,
Why? Yeah,
I
does
think
that make sense? I know it sounds weird. I know, like,
oh my god!
I love
imagine the
play-
Packers had twice many wins and we're 6-4. Yeah, it'd be crazy.
I love that players want to perform and be their best. So I'm not even mad at Pickens or Harris, right? Like, they just want to be their best and show what they can do and everything else. And if you're willing to say that much, like, don't skirt around your water and dip your toe in. Like, jump in. Like, tell us what you're really thinking. Like, coming out and saying, man, like, I don't like how things are going. Why? I can't say. Well, you can. Like, if you do it, it might help your cause. It might bury you. But, if you don't like Matt Canada, like our dear Gladys here, and you guys are saying that the play calling sucks and your quarterback sucks, maybe speaking out against him helps. Like, you saw what happened with, like, Vegas. Clearly got rid of old mate McDaniels the more that they started speaking up. Like, these things kind of players.
Yeah,
yeah, but I think the
that
ownership in Vegas is slightly different than the ownership in the Steelers. I don't, and
they are stupid. You're right.
And-
That's fair.
and I would Najee Harris
Running backs
speaking
at
out,
the end of their contracts should be
Yeah,
saying shit either. Like, he needs to shut the fuck up
especially
a
if you're
bit.
being like outplayed by an undrafted free agent who,
It was.
so
It
Najee
was Austin Eckler, Melvin Gordon 2.0. That was it.
And-
That was the comparison in August.
Pickens,
Good job.
every
Anthony.
single stat that matters on Pickens has dropped drastically since Deontay Johnson has come in. And it's not all on Kenny Pickett. It's Pickens he's running routes that like the last 2 games.
They're never going to connect.
No,
It's never going to connect.
and they're lazy
Unless
routes.
Pickett makes, because Pickens has the ability to just like make these unreal catches. If he's not making those every single time, he's not catching it. It seems like.
Well, if he's not making the effort, he's not going to make the catch.
Yeah,
You
you
know
need
what I
to
mean?
get to the route
Yeah,
running. It seems like that's
so-
the issue with him. And that's why he's
I mean-
always
But you know
double
what,
covered and like it's tough to get separation, and he's always having to make these miracle catches because he can't get open.
The problem with that is receivers not making the effort. Do you know what the problem with that is? They'll then say the quarterback doesn't have players that are helping him. Because I've seen this through Daniel Jones, right? Like, man, if he had better receivers, he might do better. But we're already sitting
I don't
there
think anyone said that about Pickett. Pickett hasn't. He doesn't throw past
That's
20-yard line. Like his passes, he's the dump off king. Like he can't. I don't know if he's unable to throw the long ball, or he just doesn't trust George Pickens anymore to throw the long ball to him. But he doesn't throw the long ball. He just doesn't do it. And I don't know if it's Canada's system.
I feel like it would help more with Frymouth coming back.
I hope Mo Frymouth coming back, but
Yeah.
I mean, I think people discount how much Big Ben changed Canada's plays when he was in calling the plays. Like, I don't know if it's true, but I've read that Ben maybe used like 25, 22% of the plays that Canada called. He just would simply call another play in the huddle. And so,
They're just guidelines, right?
and Canada's not going to say anything if they're successful plays because he's going to get the
No.
credit for it. Well, now he's
Ben's
not.
been there a lot longer than him. Like he's, and again, the reputation, right? Like Ben's got those 2 Super Bowl rings that he can kind of point to that, like,
Yeah, Matt
what's
Canada
Canada going to
is-
impose on that franchise QB, right?
He
Now, to be fair though, like that seems like a really low percentage, like you're saying 22, 25%. But I would imagine like all the elite veteran quarterbacks probably constantly are changing calls to the line of scrimmage. Like Peyton Manning did it so often.
I
But
doubt
it's funny-
that
and it's
Russell
funny how
Wilson has
his-
changed a call that Sean Payton has called. I doubt it. I doubt very seriously.
Well, I
Nah.
mean, Sean Payton's also probably giving him 2 calls too, right? Okay, you've got this play and this play, whatever
I
defense.
doubt that too. I think Sean Payton is saying you're going to run the ball.
Well, yeah, maybe depends.
Yeah,
Some of those really, like, I know Sean McVay does that too, though, right? He's giving the quarterback 2 options, right? Okay, if they have this type of defense, this is the play. If it's this type of defense, like, see how it lines up, and they might not reveal themselves until like right before the snap or like as the pass rushers are approaching. So sometimes, like, there was a call last night, and again, it's the Chargers. I think I'm pretty sure it was the Chargers game where Herbert literally changed the call like 3 times because the Packers kept like adjusting what the defense was doing. Joe Barry being creative. Wow, imagine that. So like I'd imagine it's probably not 25%, but I figure like a Tom Brady or an Aaron Rodgers or a Peyton Manning or these like super veteran quarterbacks, they're probably only using like maybe 40% max of the actual play called in because
I
they're
don't think
constantly having to adjust everything. And like
I don't
know.
think Peyton Manning got plays called in for him. Like I think Peyton Manning called the plays. Like
I thought Peyton was famous for just being able to always audible at the line of scrimmage and like always figure things out. And
he didn't
would constantly be changing which way they were running even sometimes. Like,
exactly.
okay, we'll stick with a run play, but we're going to
do it this way or that way. So Peyton Manning was kind of given like a skeleton, like, you know what I mean? Like he wasn't changing plays because they weren't actually giving him plays. They're like, Peyton, hey, this is what you're looking at. And he's like, okay, this is what we're going to call.
The old school pre-headsets, right? When quarterbacks actually had to call their own plays because coaches didn't have headsets, and like the offensive coordinator, head coach would just have to hope that the quarterback is like, okay, we taught them well enough during the week that they know what to go do, and like the best ones would. But that art form has been lost now because offensive coordinators are calling every play, but the veteran quarterbacks are still giving the authority to adjust every time if they see something that doesn't work with the play call because the defense is in a certain formation or they make an adjustment.
I can't think of maybe Mahomes, but I can't see Mahomes calling out of an Andy Reid play. But I can't think of a quarterback right now that's playing in the NFL that's starting that would change the play.
Again, I think it happens constantly. Not everyone's allowed to, though, right? Like some of the younger quarterbacks, they're told not to. Like some of them, like they have no choice but to fall in line. But I think anyone who's in like their 4th or 5th year and constantly with a franchise, I bet they've got total authority. If they see something,
Matthew Stafford, maybe.
But again, I think McVay strikes me as the kind of guy he calls into plays. Like, okay, these are the 2 options, this one or this one. Whatever works best with the defense, that's the route to go with. But you're right, like Sean Payton, maybe he is constantly looking at what the defense is doing, and like I know this is the best call for this defense.
No, I can't. I mean, I know Geno Smith's probably not doing it. I don't. Geno Smith, I know. Who else do you have? Jared Goff. Maybe that was his problem yesterday. God damn, boy, fucking killed me.
Well, that wasn't play calling. He was just making stupid throws, right? Like he was just throwing into bad coverages. Like that's not the play caller. That's just quarterback execution.
Anyway.
And to be fair, Jamie, I think Matt Canada is as really as Canadian as you are. Actually, no, not as much. You're more Canadian than Matt Canada is. I also wish he didn't have the last name Canada because I love South Park, but I'm tired of the blame Canada thing constantly being used. It's annoying. It's not about Canada. We feel left out and excluded, I suppose.
South Park is like I've never seen this show. I've never seen a South Park.
Okay, I watched Silverado, by the way. I understand why you say it's the best Western movie ever.
Wasn't it awesome?
Pretty awesome. Yeah.
It is an awesome movie. I might have to watch it again tonight instead of.
I love basically every character, even like the villains.
Right?
Like,
even the villains were a good character.
Yeah, no, it's
except for Jeff Fahey. He was like a dick, but Brian Dennehy's character, great. Jeff Fahey, he was like a creeper, so it's not really a great character. But yeah, when Kevin Kline walks in there and the guy has his hat on, that's like one of the best scenes ever. I love that movie. I'm gonna have to watch it again. I'm watching it instead of the game.
And watch A New Hope while you're at it.
Okay, that's what I couldn't remember.
So
it's Star Wars. Yeah. Star Wars: New Hope.
Yeah,
I've seen that.
It's like the first one, right?
Well, it was the first one released, but it's number 4 in the series.
No, because when I pulled up the Star Wars, because I just said Star Wars trilogy.
If it does chronological release order, it'll be the first one. Yeah, the original Star Wars trilogy, the first one from that.
Then I'll watch that tonight.
All right, awesome.
I'm not fucking watching this game because I hate. If I hear another Taylor Swift reference, I just might fucking hurt my TV.
You see, I normally avoid Monday night games because I can't stand Troy Aikman, but this game I think is worth it. So I think I've identified the 3 games this year where I'm gonna like tolerate Troy Aikman. I mean, I'm pretty sure they have to do it.
Do you guys not get the Manning cast in Canada?
See, not with my current satellite package, unfortunately. My old one at the old place, which wasn't mine, was the landlord's, and I guess I have to figure out how he got it because this one I set up my own, and they didn't give normally the extra TSNs, like there's 5 TSNs I got access to, and normally one of them would have a Manning cast, but no.
The Manning cast, like if I'm watching the Monday game, I'm watching the Manning cast.
It's the whole appeal of just not listening to Troy Aikman. It's the best.
It's great, and you can watch it and not have sound and just watch Peyton's face and know if the quarterback is fucking up or not. because he just can't stand it when a quarterback does bad. It doesn't matter what team, it doesn't care.
I bet he's audibly in plays up there too. He's like, "Oh, I would check out of that play. I would call this."
They do that. That him and then they have their guests do it. They call the next 3 plays, and then if you get it right, you get your big head put on this thing. And Patrick Mahomes was on last week. Every single play they asked him to call, he called. They were like, "What defense are they going to run?" He would tell them the defense, and I think it might have been a Broncos game, wasn't it? Was it a Broncos game last Monday?
Yeah,
we had
Bills, right?
Broncos Bills.
Yeah, because they had just played him, and he knew every defense they were
played
running.
him every year. They've played him
and
like
he knew what the offense was going to run against it. It was awesome.
Because to be fair, he's also played the Bills a lot recently too. So.
Yeah, he was really good. Like I had a newfound respect for Patrick Mahomes, which doesn't really mean much.
It shows how much work these guys are putting in, right? Like the guys that are actually in the sauce, like how well they know this stuff.
Trevor Lawrence, same thing. He was on. He couldn't call the defense. He was having trouble with the defensive side, but the offensive side, he told them exactly what plays they would run when he looked at the defense.
I guess Lawrence struggling to read defenses this year too. I wonder if that's manifested any poor performances he's had.
Of course he balled out yesterday, but that's okay.
Because the defense sucks, right? Like he does well unless it's like an elite defense. And just I think what's happened recently is he's played a bunch of like really good defenses in a row. So he's put up poor performances in a row. So everyone's freaking out. They played the Titans.
Oh.
Their run defense is amazing, but their pass defense sucks.
Yeah.
That's terrible.
Their run defense isn't really that amazing either, though. Their run defense is taking a small hit.
I guess by comparison it looks good because it's so much better than the pass defense, but you're right.
Yes.
It's probably not elite. Not elite. I would say I'm honestly calling the Chiefs an elite run defense. And I think it's an elite run defense in the area which might hurt the Eagles tonight. So I don't know if you guys want to transition to tonight's game yet, or if Dan still has a rant in him now that we've talked enough about the Steelers and riled everything up.
I'll get there. I'm going to work my way into it. I told you. I'm not.
The rant is about tonight's game?
I don't even know yet. I'll get there.
Okay. Well, you know what? Maybe it will be. So let's push it towards the Eagles there. But yes, Eagles-Chiefs, Super Bowl rematch, folks.
It's not a Super Bowl rematch. There's so many different players and so many different offensive coordinators. I want people to stop saying that. The coordinators are different. Players are different. The Eagles secondary is nowhere near the same it was last year. They don't have the same offensive coordinator. They don't have the same defensive coordinator. Come on. It is not a rematch. A rematch is the exact same teams.
The Eagles and Chiefs are playing tonight, and they are two teams that in their recent past have happened to be in Super Bowls, potentially one where both franchises were in the same Super Bowl, but they may not be the exact same team, so we're not going to say it's a rematch. But yes,
that was beautiful.
Thank you.
Fuck them both.
So over this shit.
I don't want to watch this shit. I don't watch Taylor Swift. I don't watch the Eagles. This is like me. Like I don't want to deal with this either. I don't even know how I got here.
I don't either. I
gotta welcome to the 2-point conversion.
My God, I'm gonna deal with like Kadarius Toney doing sweet fuck all,
dude, and the
Sky Moore doing sweet fuck all. Like at any point, like
more than Gerson has this year.
Let me tell you something.
He's not been on shows this year.
Justin Watson's like their best receiver. That's where
I noticed in the props he's like the second highest for receiving yards.
My mind is just out. It's just.
I think I'm starting him in a league that.
I just picked him up in the FPC because I had a spare spot. I was like, hey, let's do it for shit.
You get the stack.
Hey, well, I can't play him, but you know,
okay.
I was like, hey,
if you ever need to start him, you get the stack.
If not, no, I'm just gonna drop him tomorrow. Why not?
Okay.
You'll see it tomorrow. You'll see me drop him, and you guys will get a kick out of it.
Oh, and get out!
Get out!
Get out! Wait, dude, the point spread, it's been all over the place.
45.5 for this game. This is like the two best teams, right? Like the best team in the AFC and the best team in the NFC. Arguable with San Fran, whatever. I get it. But like, it's 45.5, and I could care less. I'm not even checked out. I'm not even that jaded, but like the Chiefs suck. I don't even want to watch them. Yeah. I'm so out of watching the Chiefs. I'm not interested in them, which is so beyond like normal because, oh man, Mahomes is awesome. Kelsey's awesome. Then what? Pacheco's a big ball of mid.
I need Rashee Rice to be awesome tonight.
I'm literally waiting to see if Chris Jones does something special, and like he's against Hurts, so probably not. So that's out the window.
Yeah, that offensive line, it's not to be messed with.
Yeah, like I'm so not interested in this game because all again, like you know what the worst thing is? If Philly win, they go, "That's how we should have got penalized in the Super Bowl." It's like He gives a fuck, man. You lost on that one too. Like, get out of here. Just get out. No one wants to hear you.
If this game was in Philly, I think it would be way easier to predict for some reason. That it's in Kansas City bothers me.
How did
Not
Kansas
bothers me, but
I get
it
that
makes it
Kansas
harder to
Kansas
choose.
have the -3, right? So they've been given the home team like special, the -3.
It started out, didn't it start out 3.5? Beginning of the week, it was 3.5. Right now on DraftKings, it's 2.5. It went down to 2.5. They
Anyone
lost
since
like
watched
4 points.
Monday
who
morning,
they
I
beat,
checked, it was 2.5.
who they beat in Germany the other week, like Miami. They put 14 points up and they had a pick 6 return. So they had 14 points really as an offense against Miami, a team that lets everyone score. A team that lets everyone score. They had 14 points offensively against. Like, you're sitting there going,
It's a score party. Woo woo. Toronto Days.
and then it's not. And now you've got like Philly, who arguably better defense than Miami. They've got some issues in their secondary. It's fine, but what are they going to do? What's Sky Moore going to do?
I don't.
What? Like Rashi Rice has been nice. He's been a good play this year. What's he going to do? I have zero faith in the Chiefs at this point because Kelsey, like Travis Kelsey, is the most boring 10 for 8, 90 player that I've seen in I don't know how long. I'm so bored of him now. 10 for 8 for 90. That's what he's going. And then what? Like that's their offense. That's the best that they have at this point. 10 for 8 for 90. Nothing else. A bunch of dudes getting like 17 yards. It's not that interesting. They're not that interesting anymore.
No.
So who are you taking, Dan?
I'm taking the Eagles, unfortunately. Like, I have zero faith in the Chiefs actually doing anything at this point. I know their record's 7-2. They were average against Miami at best, and they got spanked by Denver at some point, right? The week before that.
Yeah.
Their form is a little deceiving. I don't think they're there. The only thing that's worked in their favor, I think, since you've turned to shit, Buffalo's been they're erratic. The nicest thing I could say about the Bills is that they're erratic. The only thing that they have going against them maybe is the Ravens. And they've shown already that they have a tendency to like blow up and they can implode at the worst point of a game late in the fourth quarter than anyone. And now they're without Mark Andrews too. So you're looking at the AFC going, Chiefs.
Oh yeah.
Chiefs,
Jesus.
Chiefs are there, but who cares?
Only we
Don't
had a
forget about
quarterback.
The Browns and Steelers.
Who?
The Browns and Steelers.
The Browns with Joe Flacco? They're going to ride this kid. They're going to ride this kid. And what?
I like DTR.
He had 100 yards until the last 2 minutes, and he had 136. So he had 100 yards and an intercept against Pittsburgh, one of the most friendliest passing defenses in the NFL. At 100 yards and an intercept. So, you know, he was fine. 30 yards rushing, it's okay for fantasy. What do you have, 10 points?
I have no
Cool.
idea. I didn't play him.
Like,
I mean,
cool. But, like, Flacco's their option? Like, so Browns defense, okay.
I thought they were sticking with DTR.
They can only, well, they picked up Flacco today. So
We have to have a backup. Who was their backup after? Oh, PJ Walker.
Walker's just the same as DTR at this point. Like, they're both going to get you 150 yards and an intercept. So, you know, there's not much in the AFC. Like, they've been absolutely smashed. Like, smashed at this point. And what, Denver at 5-6? 5-5? Denver haven't had the bye yet, right? No, so Denver at 5-5.
No, they did have the
No, they had their bye. They had
So
their
Denver
bye.
at 5-5, 5-6, right? Like, that's
6, 5, and 5. Yeah.
like maybe the Colts with Minshew. That's what the Jaguars, like, they've shown how like off they can be.
Rookie C.J. Stroud going to win the Super Bowl.
Like,
That would be awesome.
I love
That would
hype.
be
and
awesome.
form. I love hype and form, and I hope he does something special. but,
D'Amico
like,
Ryan's
that's-
first year
that's
coach.
it.
That was
That's it.
so
That's-
awesome.
That's exactly what we have right now. It's the Chiefs are just there by proxy. There's nothing else around them at this point. And I love the Ravens. I like Baltimore. I think they're a phenomenal franchise. If I was not a Giants person, I think I'd be a Ravens fan. I like how they go about it. And you sit there looking at them going, you should beat Kansas, but in that last 5 minutes, I don't trust them. I couldn't.
Will
bet
they
on it.
mess it up against the Chargers next week?
How could they do it? It's going to happen, right? Like, they're good for it.
They'll find some new way. just to elaborate on Jamie's comment, imagine if the Browns kept Dobbs or at least Brissett. My thinking is with this defense, imagine if they just kept their own
Brissett.
business and just stuck with Mayfield. Imagine
No.
that.
Mayfield looks a bit better with what he has. He didn't look good with what he had.
Yeah, I don't think
Does he
Mayfield
look
could have
good with
stayed.
Amari Cooper though?
I don't think he could have stayed in
No.
Cleveland. I think he was having
I don't
problems in the locker room. I think that was more.
That preceded whatever was there with
Yeah.
Watson, and they found that was the excuse to kind of move on.
Yeah, I don't think he
It
could have
was,
stayed.
it was kind of
They should have
between-
kept Brissett. Why they let Brissett go, I have no idea. That was like the stupidest thing.
Brissett's the one that you're sitting there going,
He's
I want to get the
outplayed
but even still, Brissett at some point, he's
Yeah.
good for, he's going to go from 150 yards and an intercept to maybe 200 yards and a touchdown, and that could be the difference between a win and a loss for what they're looking at with how their defense plays. But at that point, they're going to come up against someone better and lose, and that's just the sad fact for Cleveland. And I'm really happy with how they've done this year. I think they've done really good. They've been really fun to watch at some point. Sometimes good defenses are fun to watch, right? But even for what it is, yeah,
I mean, it's you have so you have the Jets who have like a phenomenal defense. You have Cleveland, which has a phenomenal defense. You have Broncos defense is getting better, and then you have these three quarterbacks who aren't doing anything. Anyone who tells me yesterday's game Russell Wilson won it because of that last drive is full of shit.
No.
That was like field goal after field goal after field goal because they could not convert in the red zone. That wasn't a Russell Wilson won this game. That was a great catch in the end zone.
All over the place from like
saw-
having
yeah.
a really good run game, and then they don't. It's like they don't know what to do with it, and they've got some really good receivers, and they don't know what to do with them, and yet they're getting through games, and they're like churning them out, and that's an important thing to do, especially like on the road, right? To do what they did in Buffalo,
right?
That's important to do. To do what they did at home last night, that's important to do, even if it's not pretty at this time of year. No one's going to remember this shit in December, right? Like late December, but at some point they're going to get found out, and that's the thing that this point that like this is what they are. They're like, well, yeah, sure, they're there. They're probably the best team in the AFC, maybe them in Baltimore, but what does it matter? Like, I think either team is going to come against Philly or San Fran and get just absolutely smashed, and that's interesting to see with Philly tonight. But even with Philly, like I've been saying it for a few weeks now, they don't look like they've been out of second gear yet.
Especially defensively.
Okay, I think that you have a new offensive coordinator and a new defensive coordinator. I think it's like they're not going to come out of the gate like they were last year because it's going to take 5 games to get into that new system.
The OC's a loss, but I think a lot of Philly people will tell you that the guy that went to Arizona they seem okay with him going.
Yeah, that's the sentiment I get too.
They seem like a lot of Philly people will tell you the feeling is Gannon, right? The feeling is that's fine.
The defense was carried by talent, not the defensive coordinator.
There you go. But like the guy that went to the Colts, Steichen, he was the loss, and that's you saw glimpses of it with Richardson.
But then you got to think you've lost. Okay, so you lose Steichen, which is a monumental loss. But in that secondary, they lost like two of their best secondary players. They just let them go after they let their DC go. I mean, it's not going to be the same defense.
Buyout is a nice pickup. I really like the position of Kevin Byard, and that's huge too. But like even with how they've had to like mix that around with like where's Bradbury going to play? Like they've been mixing him in with nickel or the out. Like Bradbury's been, and as a Giants fan, I know because we had the contract issues with him before, and it was the hardest thing to see us go. We can't keep you because we paid Leonard Williams. Like that's the mad.
Only to trade Leonard Williams away.
Yeah, it's just some of the things that they've done to let a guy like Bradbury go, who's literally the best player that we had for like 2 years, and to let him walk to Philly and to not trade him was despicable and disgusting as a Giants fan. So Dave Gettleman, go fuck yourself. There's number 6 for tonight. But it's also at the point where you're sitting there going, if they don't know how to figure him out, who's been one of the most certain guys for the last 5, even when he's time in Carolina, 5-6 years, one of the most automatic players, and they're messing with him, that is going to reflect. And it has been. If they just leave him to do what he does, he's damn near untouchable.
And I wonder if they're forcing it, like it's Gardner Johnson, right? Chauncey
Yeah,
Gardner-Johnson. I think the safety and I wonder if they feel like there's a kind of a hole in the middle and they need a better presence sort of
Do you
more
see
towards the middle of the field and they want to put Bradbury there. I wonder if that's the logic. But
Who's
to
the
like both of your points, the Eagles really haven't been the best they can be, and yet they're 8-1. So
right?
if they can figure it out, they probably are the best team in the league. So
if both Philly and Kansas haven't been their best, who right now is the best? between
Bradley
the two?
Roby has been out for the Eagles too. I mean, Bradley Roby and Cam Jurgens kind of.
Well, it's funny. It's interesting. This is the point I was going to make earlier. The Chiefs' run defense, especially near the goal line, has been arguably the best this year. They're the only team, and I'll plug my goal line guide article that I put out every week at fullpresscoverage.com. But yeah, they're the only team so far that has not allowed a rushing touchdown inside their own 5-yard line. However, they're about to play the team that has, I believe, oh no, the Lions passed them. And actually the Ravens are ahead of them too, but the third most rushing touchdowns inside the 5 this year. And I'm pretty sure they had the most last year. They were up there with the Lions again. But so something's got to give there, right? Like, is the Chiefs' run defense real, or are they about to see like, okay, when it comes to goal line running, nothing is real against the Eagles because they will just demolish all of them. So I think that'll be actually a super key part to this matchup.
I would be hoping that it would be DeAndre Swift. I honestly think it depends on how healthy Cam Jurgens comes in, because their run game loses like 2 yards a carry without him there. So if he's off IR and he's playing, DeAndre Swift, they're going to be okay. But if he's not playing, I'm not betting on the Eagles run game. The only thing, if they get like within a foot, they're going to, Hurts is going to push it in. So
yeah. And that's the thing. Like, that's the X factor, right? They can always just go to Hurts if they need to. Can
Right.
the Chiefs stop it, knowing it's probably coming, right? And no one has been able to, but like this Chiefs run defense seems like they're legit. So they might be the team that's able to stop them and hold us to them.
That offensive line, if it's healthy,
yeah,
it's
it
probably
overpowers everyone, even the
Yeah.
best run defense.
It
And I
does.
think part of me, I'm going Eagles. I'm as 3-point underdog. Is that it's testing that theory, and as much as I trust the goal line guide, I think I'm gonna say that no, that not that the Chiefs haven't been for real, because I think their run defense is good, but it's just this is a whole different level of a run offense, and I think instead of forcing the field goals, I think a couple of those drives will end in touchdowns. It'll be enough.
So you went Chiefs. Wait,
No, I went Eagles.
Eagles under?
I actually went higher this week.
Oh,
45.5 seems pretty low, and I think it was part of my thinking of, can the Eagles score enough? Like, will they score enough to win this and again convert those touchdowns or field goals into touchdowns instead? And it's again with that run defense. So my thinking with going the Eagles is, yes, they will be able to do that, and then conversely, it'll up the total points scored to go actually higher than the 45.5. I was tempted to go Chiefs lower or Eagles higher, but I was a few things to pick on either of these. One of them was, again, the goal line guy, that this Chiefs run defense. Was I really going to bet on that? And I thought about it for a bit. I also want to shout out PA the Second, Pat's Barbershop, because I did just get the haircut today, so I'm not wearing the hat.
Right.
Because he's from Nigeria, obviously soccer is king in Nigeria, and the Nigerian Super Eagles is the name of the men's team.
Yeah.
Their jerseys are green and white, so it lines up perfectly with the Eagles. Not that he's not a gridiron football fan at all, but it would be just because I feel inspired by Pat. Also put out some good albums and music recently, so I kind of partially went with the hard pick there to go with the Eagles. But I legit think that as good as I think this Chiefs run defense is shown to be, I just think they'll get overpowered. It'll be too much. So, and with enough points scored, I'm also going higher there. But and Gladys, I guess we'll share your pick, Gladys, against the spread, and then we'll answer Jamie's prop question here before getting to our own.
I went Chiefs higher.
All right, and care to elaborate, or do you want to just leave folks at that?
I mean, like I said, I think this game is really hard to pick in Kansas City. If it was in Philly, I would have gone Eagles, probably higher still. But I think it's going to be the only way that the only way that the Chiefs can keep up with the Eagles is through their passing game. So either Rashee Rice or Watson or Sky Moore are going to have to step up with Kelsey. And I think if that happens, this game is going to start to be like 27-21. And if it was 3.5 points, I would have taken the Eagles. But because it's just 3, I'm gonna say the Chiefs are gonna be able to cover that. And it's gonna be a higher scoring. I think both teams are gonna be able to get at least 3 touchdowns easily. Harrison Butker hasn't missed a field goal all season, so even if it becomes a field goal game, I just think there's going to be lots of scoring to be had in this game.
And conversely, Dan, you've already mentioned you're going the Eagles, and you're also taking the lower. And I think it's related to you don't have faith in anyone else other than Kelsey. You don't think Rashee Rice is going to establish to be a great.
I have alluded to my distaste for this game already. I'm looking at who can score points for the Chiefs at this point. Outside of Kelsey, who, yes, Jamie, I like a Kelsey touchdown tonight. So we'll call it. Let's call it 10 for 8, 90 and 1. There you go. That's Kelsey's day. Like outside of him, I'm looking at what can they offer, and we saw against Miami not much, and we saw against Denver not much. They're kind of getting by. It's weird because you're looking at them and you're like, wow, like what you could do with Kadarius Toney. Kadarius Toney's not very good. He's not good. What they could do with like Sky Moore, not very good either. What they could have done with like Rashee Rice is TBD. What they could do with MVS, maybe that's a guy that gets excited.
Myles Jack just unretired and signed with the Steelers.
That says everything you need. There's a guy mowing lawns. He's back.
Oh fuck!
He retired to mow lawns and he's back. Well,
with the Steelers.
I like Myles Jack.
I like Myles Jack when he was really good.
Kenny Pickett is your QB. They have the same wins though, so.
Friggin' God.
Wow.
Why?
But anyway, so yeah.
Sorry, Dan.
Yeah, if you want to continue, Jay, go ahead.
Yeah, I just look at what they have to offer. So I really, outside of Butker, which was just mentioned, where else are they getting points from?
Rashee Rice. I just said that.
Yeah,
he better score like 2 touchdowns.
In a game like this, like he wasn't. I hope he is for you then. If that's what you're relying on, then great. Let's go.
I need him to 2 touchdowns. I need Kelsey to score 0. Then I win the zombie. I can eat someone. I can zombie somebody. That's all I want from my life right now.
You're looking at maybe a weird game for like MVS, maybe. Like that's it. And I just don't look at what they can do and go, wow, this is a game that they can exploit against the Eagles, because we've seen them struggle against other teams that like they should be much better than, and they're not. And that's where I'm at with that. But yeah, I went with the Eagles. I'm taking the +3 because even if the Chiefs do win, are they blowing the Eagles out? No. So I'm thinking, well, I'll take the +3 on that and under 45.5 because we know how these Monday night games go, and I'm taking the lower on that as well. I just don't see where the Chiefs are going to front up. I just don't. Even at home, and even if the Chiefs keep this low, and maybe there's some intimidation for Philly out at Arrowhead and all that sort of stuff. Maybe it's a slower game. Maybe there's turnovers. I don't know. These Monday games seem to be a pothole for everyone, and I'm happy to stay away.
Yeah, I'm taking the big risk going the higher. I've gotten 6 in a row right, just picking the lower, and I'm going to break the streak one way or another. Hopefully, I keep the streak of picking correctly. But yeah, so Jamie's question, I guess it's for Dan only. So glad to see what I can't answer. Dan, give me a couple of props.
I'm not helping Jamie do shit. Jamie, I'm not helping you do anything.
Well, it's because he's got the prop show, of course. So.
Whatever, Jamie.
But anyway, AJ Brown higher yards. Kelsey. Touchdown and Swift. Well, he's saying parlay, so he wants 2 of these. So which of these do you like the least? So obviously the Kelsey touchdown is not that answer.
I'll tell you what, because I like to never give answers to anything. I'll tell you. So like the Eagles have given up the second most touchdowns to the tight end position, right? So I think they've given up 5. Leader is 6, give or take. So they're in there with a bunch of teams with 5, as it were. So Kelsey for a touchdown, I don't hate, because it's got to come from somewhere. He seems to be able to get it done first, and that is what it is. In terms of Swift rushing yards, I agree with Kyle. I think that their rushing props. A guy like Swift, all he has to do is break one off, and that's it. I find that that's a bit of a trap. I would tend to lean the under on Swift with receiving yards. Kansas don't seem to give it up to the running back in that regard. They're very stingent on that. So I would feel better, even though it's a lower number. I would feel better about Swift going under on receiving yards. In regards to AJ Brown, he's such. If you think I had problems with Christian McCaffrey, you should see me with. I mean, there was a stretch where it was just easy to go. He's going over 100. He's going over 100. He's going. And then he had that bit of a landmine week last week. In that regard, I feel like he's lined for receptions at 6.5, and the Chiefs, they don't really give it up to wide receivers a lot. Yards, receptions, I think the fourth fewest in both. So in that regard, you know that the big play with him can happen. I'd nullify that and go under on receptions at 6.5.
Interesting. Yeah, I'd be
Which he
more
hasn't
tempted to
done.
go
Riskiest
higher
he
on
has.
Brown than I
He
would
also
go higher on Swift. Sorry.
He hasn't done that either. Like, he hasn't gone under 6.5 for a few weeks. So the risk is baked into that, but the matchup is tough for him no matter what. So
Would you
feel-
think it's easier to go the higher on the catches than it would be the receiving yards?
no,
He
because
is
I feel
specifically
like
asking for the yards, but would you think he
no,
should pivot to
I-
catches?
I
if he wants
I would feel that like Brown is good for like that 150-yard reception, and that's he only has to go 5 for 30 after that, which we know he can do with his eyes closed. So it's when those guys have that breakaway effort with that mass volume that they're used to. That for me is a problem. So I find Brown, like, okay, his line's like 80.5 receptions. He's good for 150-yard reception, and then it's pretty much done. And that parlay is gone. So I find that higher total a problem in that regard. In terms of reception, 6.5, he should be able to get the 7 quite easily. But it is a tough matchup no matter what. And we're looking at this where we already know that the game we feel like is going under, except for Kyle. And we already know that this
Gladys
might be
went higher,
yeah, and on the road it might be a weird sort of game for them. So
right? Gladys, you went higher, right?
For points?
45.5.
Wait, what? Yeah,
Something
I went higher than 45.5. Yeah.
Okay, yeah.
I'm the only one going
Totally
low there.
sure.
So
Put that in mind.
he's going low. So in that regard, how much he's going to break away and put those yards up is another thing. My confidence is probably more in Swift under on receiving yards than anything else. In terms of rushing yards, it'll be close. I would probably lean over on that one. I'm not confident in that. I would, and Kyle was talking about Kenny Gainwell. His usage is starting to come up. I'd probably feel like I could take Gainwell over. Let me follow that up there with Gainwell. Where are we here? Kenny Gainwell, 15.5.
15.
Yeah, 15.5. We're going live here on this. So 15.5 for him. He's had 16 and 22 in his last 3. So I feel like at 15.5 or 6.5 receiving yards there as well, it'd be a bit flukish. I don't like that either. So 15.5 rush yards for Gainwell, I'd feel a bit better about.
Yeah, I don't love going Swift over. I think especially if you're committed to going with
I
the
don't-
hires, Jamie, I'd rather go AJ Brown higher than Swift. Higher.
You really need Jalen Hurts to start well for that to hit, I think. And that's,
So it makes Kelsey touchdown like the obvious one of the 3.
I feel so.
Okay.
I feel so. But again, I don't like the receiving props for Swift. And at the moment, we are looking at 17.5, which I feel is a bit high against the Chiefs at this point. Yeah, he's had 7, 13, and 31, and that was against Dallas in a weird game. So Washington 7, Miami 13. Yeah, I think we can go lower on that. I feel better about that.
All right, so with Jamie's prop question,
You know
completed,
that Kelsey's only had like 4 touchdowns all
It's
season,
not that
right?
impressive this year. It has
What?
because they've had nothing else. It's again, they've really had nothing else. It's been a weird.
That was against the Chargers, Minnesota, Chicago, and Jacksonville.
3 games where they kind of, I guess Jacksonville didn't score much against them, but it's 3 opponents where they felt like it would be tough opponents, so they have to rely on Kelsey. Against the easier teams, they could kind of just do whatever they want. I guess against the Bears, that was just so unfair. I'm pretty sure that was the first Taylor Swift game. So like the Chiefs just were like on extra high gear, and the Bears had no chance.
Last
Fields did okay, but the Bears defense is one of the worst in the league, and it looked like it that day. I'm pretty sure the Chiefs put up 50, and so everyone scored, including Kelsey.
Eh.
But yeah, so Gladys, now that we can get
Kyle.
to our specific props, would you like to begin with your player prop pick?
Sure. I went defense this week. James Bradbury higher than 2.5 combined tackles So, yeah, I feel good about that. Because now it's
Talked about
3.5.
Bradbury. I wonder if, like Dan, to your point of them shifting him around, if he is playing more in the slot, does that give him a more opportunity to get tackles on inside runs potentially?
I don't, like I said, I mean, I don't think
It's
they're
such
going
a
to
low
play him
number,
in the
too.
slot if Roby's back, but maybe.
Bradley Roby is in the slot during pre-game warm-ups.
Yep. So,
It is such a low number too, so you're hoping that he gets like the player he's covering gets targeted 3 times and he makes the tackles and doesn't let him score. There you go.
well, I'm hoping, yeah, let's just go with that. Sure. I'm hoping that they move him along the line with the Georgia kid, the other Georgia kid, and so he has chance all game long to at least. It's just such a low number for combined. If it was like just solo tackles, I could see it being 2.5. But for combined and assists, as much as they converge, that defensive line converges when they tackle, I think he might cover that like within the first quarter. Actually,
I love the combined solo and assisted tackles that are super low.
Yeah.
Which is why I'm going Justin Reed higher than 3.5 total tackles.
I
So,
love Justin Reed.
Safety on the Chiefs, I think he was the lowest Chief listed. I think maybe someone else was at 3, but or no, I think L'Jarius Sneed was at 4. So
Wow.
I thought 3.5 seemed like a pretty low total. Hang on, I have the numbers. So Reed's been with the Chiefs 2 years now. This season, 6 games he's gone higher than 3.5. 3 games he's gone lower. So that's a decent number to start. But then if I look back, if I include last season, 20 games he's played, he's gone higher than 3.5, and only 5 games he's gone lower. So when I was kind of looking through the stats, that was a quick one to kind of. I focused in on pretty easily, and I decided just to stick with Justin Reed. So both of us going with defensive player tackles. Dan, are we going 3 for 3 on IDP?
We sure as shit are. We're getting on Kevin Byard tonight. Bam. That's what we got.
Pro safety or former.
Yeah, he's really fit in well with Blankenship there with Bradbury and the other dude. I forget the other cornerback's name. I'm having one. What's his name? Slade. That's the one. Yes. And if you're going to get Bradley Roby in, comes in and plays the slot, you've got a really good 5 core there. Like, that's pretty impressive. He's kept Travis Kelce quiet in the past when he played for the Titans. He's had some really good games against him as well. I don't like the line that I picked for him. I've had him at over 7.5 combined tackles, which is a problem. I think 7, is that sweet spot, but we're talking Kelce.
I thought earlier it was 7 when you gave us the line.
Yeah, it is, but I've seen it at 6.5, so I took it at 7. It's a problem because there's so many things that can go wrong with that, especially if like Kelce starts getting shut down, and I could see that being a thing. I looked at 2 assists, and I thought that might be a good way to go as well, but I think he's in for a big day. I got a gut feeling. Kevin Byard's going to do something special.
You're going higher than 7 total tackles.
Yeah, I think so. I feel like he's got an intercept in him as well. I think it's one of those weird games that he's
Did
going to
you
do something.
tell Jamie to bet on Kelce 2 touchdowns tonight?
1. I wouldn't put 2 on him. I'm not that crazy.
But Jamie is.
Oh,
So he bet
okay.
$5 on Kelce 2 touchdowns to win $33 at plus 550.
Yeah, well, we do things.
And knowing Jamie, he's probably bet a 1 touchdown. He probably put like $10 on 1 touchdown, and then like an extra 5 on this one. And if he scores 1, he covers both of these easily. And then if he gets 2, then he gets this extra boost. Like knowing Jamie likes to do something like that too.
It's smart betting. It is.
Yeah, that isn't betting. That you're betting against yourself then.
I mean, it is. If he doesn't score a touchdown, you've lost out twice.
Yeah,
But,
no, that's the thing. The risk is he has to score, right? But if you believe he's going to score, you've made 2 kind of separate bets on it to be able to win it on both. Apparently, Kelce plays the slot 45% of the time, and the Eagles allow the most points to slot.
yeah, that might be. I think.
But I wonder if that's because Roby's been hurt, like Gladys was saying. Right?
Yeah, Roby's been out. Like
Now that he's back in, I mean, he's not going to be 100% probably, but
Let's see that.
I think that he has allowed a 47.9 passer rating when targeted, healthy. I like Roby a lot. I liked him when he was at Denver. I love him now. And
he's an underappreciated guy. He is underappreciated.
Yeah. I don't not as confident in Kelce tonight. Plus I don't think his girlfriend's going to be there, so he has no reason to show up.
That's true.
You guys, I'm going to watch. Hey, it's statistically proven. I don't know why the statistics are like that. I
All
don't
four
know.
of those touchdowns have come in games when Taylor's been there.
Yeah, exactly. It's a statistical fact, Dan.
Amen.
You can't argue with numbers.
I was 15 and I had girlfriends come to my games at soccer. And let me tell you, I had little Dan with his afro running around Cook Park, St. Mary's. Had to turn up. All right, you know, you gotta bring a girl. You gotta play better. You can't just.
Dan, why are you rushing so close to net? You're the center back. No, I got to score. I had a feeling. I saw something, Coach.
Let me tell you something. We kept more clean sheets.
No balls in nets. Perfect.
That's it. No balls in it. That's it. Clean sheet. Good day. No worries. Off we go. Yes.
Is Jalen Hurts the quarterback who in college was like benching all the? Is he the one that like bench like 500? Not bench, squat like 500 pounds or something. 550 pounds. That was Hurts, right?
550, but I think he squats ridiculous amounts, like 400.
Why aren't his legs bigger?
So he can keep his speed. I don't know. He wants
Well,
to be
I mean,
fast enough too. He wants to be strong,
550
but
is a
also fast.
lot. That's a lot of weight.
I'd put money on it. That I reckon if you were in person and you saw him, you'd go, "All right, he's."
You think they look that much bigger in person?
Yeah.
Okay.
Proportionate. I think proportionate. I don't think.
Once you're standing next to them and you see like on TV.
I'm pretty sure if I'm standing next to Jalen Hurts, I'm not looking at his legs. I'm pretty sure that's not what I'm staring at. Almost
Eyes are so
positive.
beautiful.
Pretty eyes.
He's
That's right.
got the most beautiful face. His face is gorgeous, and his ass is gorgeous. I'm pretty sure I'd be staring at his face and his ass.
Fair enough. I guess if he's squatting 400 pounds, I'd imagine, his butt is beautiful. So Mickey Thrasher's here saying Noah Gray touchdown tonight. So apparently it's all about the Chiefs tight end touchdowns. Maybe that's what Jamie should do. You could find a way to bet like 2 Chiefs tight end touchdowns, so it doesn't always have to be on Kelsey. Maybe Noah Gray gets 4.
I think who's the other tight end they have?
Blake Bell. He's gonna kill everyone here. Blake Bell.
Who has 0 catches since week 1.
Yeah.
That's right. It's gonna be a Blake Bell game. They're gonna do it to us.
Of course they will.
It's going to be a Blake Bell, Alameda Zacchaeus day. That's happening.
Julio Jones, anyone? Yeah, surprised we didn't see Julio Jones props.
Ooh, that's right, because no Dallas Goedert. I'm going Albert O. I wish they had an Albert O prop. I would have put money on that one.
They didn't want to spell Quaybunam.
Yeah, who does? Who knows?
Jared Stoll. It's going to be a Jared Stoll game. We're going to be looking at this.
It's true. I didn't Tucker Kraft didn't score a touchdown for the Packers. He almost scored a touchdown. He stepped out of bounds. Got them there. And then Christian Watson got it, so I was actually happy about that. Great Packers. The Packers, funny enough, they lose to Kenny Pickett, but yet they somehow beat Justin Herbert. I found that.
Okay, they didn't beat Justin Herbert. They beat
it's,
Brandon Staley.
Exactly. It's not just about the quarterback.
Yeah. It's about Brandon Staley's sucky defense.
I like it. He gets on the podium. I'm calling the plays next week. Stop asking me.
I'm like, dude, don't. That's not what you want to say. Because you suck. I can't. There's going to be so many coaching vacancies at the end of the season. It's going to be a free fall.
I really hope so, because there's nothing being worse than this year. This has been one of the
Smith, Brandon Staley, get those 2 clowns out of here.
There's been nothing.
Arthur Smith.
Good Lord.
Ron Rivera, get out of here.
Ron Rivera, bye. Belichick will probably just leave willingly.
No, I think Washington will fire Rivera just to be able to make the enemy the head coach. That's the only reason they'll do it.
If you're losing, why fire a guy at this point? If you can't make,
for sure. I don't think any of these changes get made this year. I think if they were going to fire Staley, they probably would have done it by now.
The media PRs, especially Washington, who have kind of had. You look at Washington; they've got the new ownership, which is wonderful, and everyone seems happy about that. But then they go off and trade like. Those two elite guys, and now they look even worse. There's a lot going wrong over there.
Yeah.
Adding a coach onto the pile doesn't. Just let
the only one that legitimately should have been fired or should be fired during season is Arthur Smith, because that team had a chance in that division to make it to the playoffs.
They got a good run,
and he's
Hang on.
Even with Ritter, they should have been. They beat the Packers. Legit. So. Their defense is legit.
I'll push back a bit on that, because they're only 1 game behind the Saints, who are on top of that division. And I've mentioned this I don't know how many times. The NFC South is the best run in out of everyone else over points over expected because of
Because they play each other. They all
They
suck.
they play each other twice, so that's week 12 and then week 18, right? But in the mix there, they got the Jets. The Bucks will be a tough game. Carolina, Indy, Chicago.
Who are we talking about? Who has
Falcons.
Atlanta.
Falcons?
So they have Chicago and the Saints twice, and they're one game behind the Saints.
And I'm not giving them those games. Arthur Smith
No.
coaching, I am not giving them the game. I'm not even giving them the Jets game with Boyle under.
I don't think we
Come
should
on.
give them those games either, but they're not. It's not out of the realm. It's not out
No.
of the realm. They don't sweep the Saints because the Saints have been,
Yeah.
God knows what. They should beat Chicago week 17. The Colts would be a.
Oh, Chicago, I don't know.
The Colts are looking as a wild card.
Chicago's
team.
defense has got better. I mean, conversely to Washington, now that they have Montez Sweat. I mean,
It's a bit better. Tampa.
pass
I feel like,
defense, the secondary is still atrocious. So.
I feel like the Tampa game and the Colts game in there could be a problem for them. But every other game in there is like incredibly
Winnable.
winnable. And I'm not saying that the Bucks game isn't winnable, but it's also one of those things where if you're looking at teams that are right now directly better than them, you could probably say Tampa, and you could probably say, and Tampa's still in line with them with 4 wins. You could say Tampa and probably the Colts. Everything else is fair game. And they're
I mean,
not
the
that-
Colts
they're
game
not
seems
out.
winnable too, to be honest.
Yeah, and the Colts, I think they're starting. They've had the problems with the quarterback. They've got a bit more continuity. Jonathan Taylor's worked in. I think the Colts, towards the back end of the season, will have a better run. But if you're looking at like that run in, every game there, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 7, those 7 last games, they're incredibly winnable. And if they figured it out, which they haven't, if they figured it out, there's no reason why they couldn't go 7 for 7. But there's a way for them to go 0-7 as well.
Yeah.
And that's a problem with us.
And I think that is closer to the realm of possibility
but
than
they
them
could-
going 7.
You have to hope so.
They
That
could
probably gets
still
Arthur
be-
Smith fired.
Yeah, but they could still be in this week 18, and that's a problem too.
Yeah.
They could still be in it,
Yeah, I mean,
and that's the same.
That's a winnable
that's
division.
the NFC South, folks.
that's a winnable division, but I'm saying that he's going to find a way to not win it. I would not surprise
like to
me if
see-
Tampa and Mayfield somehow come on the top of that
Bear,
division.
bear with me. Let me see if that's available.
I think that's
let me
probably
get
the
on
smartest pick right now, to be honest.
let me get on a
He's
non-affiliate.
playing as the best quarterback in that division, to be honest.
Yeah.
Right now, so. Run defense is super solid. They've got weapons that he can throw to as well.
What are you doing, Dan?
Look at this.
Yeah, I think he's trying to put a bet
I'm
on
trying-
Tampa winning the division right now,
Well, I actually want to see
or what the odds are.
what's being offered.
But while Dan's doing that, I'll just quickly recap all of our picks for tonight's game. So, Dan and I,
Saints
Never mind.
Saints minus 150. Saints minus 150. Falcons plus 290. Bucks plus 340, which I think, yeah, and the Panthers aren't.
the Bucks bet plus 340. Yeah,
Bucks
I would.
plus 340. They've got a decent defense.
They're one
and a
game
decent
behind the
offense.
Saints.
That's it. So Bucks plus 340, and you're looking at the Falcons at plus 290. You have to have conviction in the Saints at minus 150, and I don't have any.
No.
I think they've got that.
So-
They've got that because they're currently leading. They're that one game up. So that's probably what is representing that.
And that tells you everything you need to know about that division being wide open.
Yeah.
Because nothing else, like even the Colts at this point, okay, that division's gone with the Jags, but even the Texans plus 235, Colts plus 1600, Colts. they
Texans
go on a
are
bit
only
of a
one
run.
game behind the Jags. Like I don't think they're out of it at all. That's another smart bet.
The Texans are plus 235 with the Texans.
I'm almost afraid to
That's
ask.
everything.
What are the Packers?
You should be afraid.
Yeah. Plus 1,000.
Let me-
Plus 1,400.
2,000.
Okay. Yeah. You know what? And that
Detroit-
to be fair, Detroit is just they're right.
Is this just to make the playoffs? Is that what we're
win the
is that-
division? I think
Oh, to win the division?
Division.
the playoffs probably
Make the
aren't much
playoffs.
better for the Packers. That's plus
Make the
1,400.
playoffs.
I mean,
I'll give it to make the playoffs. The Falcons
How
are
does this
plus
work?
200.
I agree with Facebook user.
oh, thanks, Facebook user.
don't know
That's
if
Jay,
that's
I
Jay.
bet. I bet that's Jay.
Of course.
I love Jay.
Yeah, Jay's awesome.
Here you go. Here you go. The Browns to not make the playoffs plus 350. To not make the playoffs plus 350. So they think they're in at minus 475.
Wait,
Well, if Jamie's
to
agreeing
not
with Facebook
make the
user,
playoffs? To
They
not
don't
make
think
the
they
playoffs.
think the,
so they think the Browns are going to
will.
make the playoffs based on that defense.
Yeah. Yeah.
I
I'm
plus
looking
350
for Green
to
Bay.
miss
Green
with the
Bay.
quarterback. I'd probably take that one too. Just there's a few
It's one. There you go, Green.
that seem intriguing.
I mean, there's a path to
Oh, for
except
sure.
for Cincinnati now, but for every team in that AFC North to make the playoffs. Although Pittsburgh is doing its best not to.
I mean,
Green
does
Bay
does
plus
Cincy even
2
have
nine.
the worst quarterback in the division?
Yeah.
They might
The
have.
Steelers-
Honestly, Jake Browning might be the second best quarterback in this division from here on out.
Yeah.
So
Pickett is the worst quarterback in that division.
I don't even think the Bengals are really out of it fully.
No. I don't think they are either. Although I don't know. I've never seen this kid play.
I would say it's unlikely that they make the playoffs, but I still think they have a chance at it. They could go
Well,
on a
I
run with
mean,
Browning.
you know, yeah. I mean, oh my god.
Dorian Thompson Robinson and Kenny Pickett, like that's not that much better. And just because Jamie's agreeing with the Facebook user, I'm now inclined to think this is actually Jamie. So hey, you can say thank you to Jamie.
Wait, what is happening?
Well, because
Practice.
Jamie, whenever we have a
Practice.
Facebook user and then Jamie like, oh, that Facebook user is so smart, it's actually Jamie on Facebook saying it. So
Oh,
because
I
Jamie
think- I
says
think
he
it's-
agrees
I
with
think it's
Facebook
just
user,
Jay.
I think this is Jamie.
Oh.
We believe they start with a J. That's the only thing that's for sure. In the decoding of the name, it's a J, and probably an A is the second letter. But after that, we don't know if it's a Y or an I. And I don't necessarily care. I don't think we have time to.
Me neither. Yeah. Thank you both or one, but yeah. So I'm gonna go and watch Star Wars because, for the love of God, I do
Plus
not want to
292.
see Mom Kelsey and Dad Kelsey either. God, I'm
Right.
so tired
Yeah,
of the
Star
Kelsey
Wars.
family.
Star Wars will be way better. A New Hope is awesome. I actually
Yeah.
just watched it. I watched it after Silverado because I was so inspired by the Western style.
I'm going to watch a movie.
What are you gonna
tonight.
watch?
I started to watch one a few days ago. It was A Haunting in Venice.
A Haunting in Venice?
Yeah, the mystery one, right?
Haunting. Yeah.
It feels like it
So-
almost feels like it'd be your current Agatha Christie kick, Gladys. I think you might like it.
Really?
Yeah. So the first is Murder on the Orient.
Ooh.
The
Yeah,
next
so
one's-
it is an Agatha Christie movie.
And then the next one's Death on the Nile. And
No,
the
this
third
is it's a Poirot. It's a Hercule Poirot.
Yeah,
It's Kenneth
yeah.
Branagh.
Yeah,
one. So the other
Yes,
two.
I remember it. Oh, what is that on?
So
What are you watching it on?
it's on Hulu.
Shut up. I have Hulu.
I will not.
I have Hulu.
No,
I've been
it's-
watching Buffy the Vampire Slayer on Hulu, season
nice.
2.
I never watched.
Letterkenny I think is on there.
What's up?
I have seen.
Letterkenny?
I don't even know what that is.
Oh, okay. I'll wear the
My-
Letterkenny shirt next week, so you'll see.
I feel like I'm going to take a wild guess. That is a Canadian version of Trailer Park Boys.
Trailer Park Boys is Canadian. It's a
That's Canadian? Get out!
it's
I
a
had no
East
idea.
Coast. That's so. Yeah, it's honestly, and I do like Trailer Park Boys. Letterkenny is better.
I've seen like 3 episodes of Trailer Park Boys.
I saw one episode of
I know it-
Letterkenny. I couldn't get into it. I'm sorry.
I've never seen it.
I only
know a
saw it
bit
because they
about
were
it, but
talking about it because there was like weren't you guys like a Scott Fishbowl thing? And I'm like,
yeah,
okay, I'll
that's
watch
right,
one.
yeah, 2 years. Oh yeah, last year
Yeah.
it was a city division. I joined.
When I first-
I did an
I'm
episode.
not gonna lie, when I first heard it and I saw the shirt, I thought it was like a ska band. That's what it sounded like. It's like, oh, it sounds like a ska band. That's it.
Trailer Park Boys or Letterkenny?
Letterkenny. Sounds like a good name for a ska band.
It might be, yeah. Anyway, it's just a small town Ontario. As
Yeah, I
opposed to
didn't-
small town trailer park on the East Coast, which is Trailer Park Boys. The concept in itself is probably similar, but the execution's a lot different. It's not filmed like a reality TV style like Trailer Park Boys is.
Well, that third person. Yeah, breaking the fourth wall.
They
hard
have-
touch.
It's funny because they'll have like kind of almost cutaway scenes to that, like where someone is speaking directly to the camera.
Yeah.
But it's not like it's not like how The Office or how Trailer Park Boys is done, where it's mocking a reality TV show style.
I don't watch The Office. There's no need. If it's
My
not the
first
Ricky
son was
Gervais-
conceived watching the Trailer Park Boys. That's probably time to end the show.
And it is.
But anyway, so Dan's taking the Eagles. Shocker. So am I. Gladys taking the Chiefs. Gladys and I both going higher than 45.5. Dan's taking the lower. And then full IDP on the prop picks. Dan going higher than 7 total tackles for Kevin Byard. Gladys 2.5 for James Bradbury and Jaden Reed. Justin Reed 3.5 total tackles higher.
we just don't like anyone playing. But as I said before, Jamie, I don't.
No defenses, which I guess makes sense. Dan's taking the lower. So
I don't mind going against DeAndre Swift receiving yards. I don't mind a Travis Kelce touchdown, and I'm probably leaning against AJ Brown.
I think I
I like Kenny Gainwell's rushing yards to go over though.
I think I did Kenny Gainwell anytime touchdown.
Could be. Like
Like-
15 and a half. All it takes
See,
for him is
Really good odds.
Yeah, the odds would be great on it. Again, back to the goal line guy. The Chiefs not allowing a single rushing touchdown. I think it would have to be someone special, aka Jalen Hurts. I think if anyone scores the rushing touchdown, it's Hurts. I don't see.
Kenneth
I
Gainwell.
think I'd rather go receiving touchdowns for someone like Brown or
Kenneth
Smith.
Gainwell
Those are available.
rushing touchdown.
Right.
Or anytime touchdown. Anytime touchdown. Doesn't have to
I'm
be
just so pro goal line guy that I just want it to be right all the time.
Graham Calcaterra. Watch it happen. He's coming out and score a touchdown.
And Boston Scott scores 2 touchdowns. Gets
Good
the
job.
Giants game of way earlier because the Chiefs are like a giant NFL team. They're
Over
a giant
under.
pain in the butt for the Eagles probably. So.
They're gonna pull us.
And they're kicking off. So
All
we're
right,
out.
and I guess we'll kick out of here.
Bye, guys. Thanks,
Thank you,
Jamie.
Gladys.
Thanks,
Thank
Facebook
you.
user. Thanks, Mickey.
Thank you, Dan. The B League says promo
Thanks, Dan.
pimp, promo holic,
Promo pimp.
promo.
I'm going
pops,
promo pimp. That's what I'm going. Thanks, Dan. Promo pimp.
Propaholic, sorry. Swiss Miss soon.
Prop.
There we
Yes, I missed the Swiss Miss.
Go prop yourselves. There you go.
Bye, guys. Thanks, Kyle. I'll see you Saturday.
go.